So we've got all of this land and we don't want people trespassing and we have the liability of it and we have all these other things. We don't just want people on there. And then people don't understand, like they want to hunt for free. I was just talking to my brother about this. The amount of shells they find on their posted land is insane. My brother caught somebody driving down the driveway. It is not a section line. You don't mistake it for a section line. And he's like, we're finding shells all the time. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, today we have new information, not infinite banking related. I think last week's podcast was not infinite banking related either. So if you guys have a topic, send them my way. But today we are going to talk about another way for you to make revenue off of your operation. Don't be closed-minded. If you're here, you're already not closed-minded, but keep it open, people, because this is exciting to me. My client, Taylor Moyer, ex-NASCAR crew chief, and yes, I'm going to say that because I like the NASCAR. And so he is with us today to talk about a company called LandTrust, and that company is helping farmers make a little bit more money on using the farm for hunting or fishing or whatever. And so I just thought, you know what? Let's just bring them on. You guys have the land. We all don't like hunters on our land, and it is a sore spot, but they have made it very, very easy, and they have made it pretty hands off. So I'm excited. So listen in. Welcome, Taylor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mary?
I am good. I'm so excited. Thank you for Taylor sent me. He said, hey, Mary Jo, you need to look at this. And then I didn't look at it. And then he sent me a link and he made it really easy for me to look at. So thanks for making my life easy.
No problem at all.
So can you tell us, what do you do now that you're retired NASCAR? You're retired from NASCAR. Now you're ranching. So tell us a little bit about the ranch before we get into LandTrust.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm like one of those first/fifth generation kids. I grew up on a cattle and apple operation in Vermont. I come from a big family of dairy farmers, apple growers, beef cattle farmers, and married into a row cropping family. But my now wife and myself, we bought this place in 2018 out in North Carolina near my racing career. I'd kind of made a 5-year plan to get out of racing and get back into ranching. That's actually when I found Mary Jo, and that's probably when I started with you, somewhere right in there.
Mm-hmm.
So after last November, when the checkered flag flew at Phoenix, I was done. And the cattle market was pretty high at that point. And as I went to scale up, the cattle market got even higher. And buy high, sell lows never really worked. So I pumped the brakes a little bit on just, really scaling up high. And we've been growing our farm and ranch very tactfully. I'm pretty proud of where we've gotten to within a year. It's been a pretty successful year. I mean, rising markets help everybody, but we've worked hard to grow smart and wisely. So with that, I spend a lot of time in my office anyway. I do as much working on the business as I do working in the business. And I was looking for some type of turnkey solution to being able to bring people onto my property and cover myself liability wise. I didn't want to add any overheads. I didn't want to deal with the hassle, but definitely liability. Like I just can't afford a twisted ankle and lose this place. We're only an hour from Charlotte, North Carolina here. So we already had a lot of people wanting to come out all the time. We had people wanting to come take pictures, like family photography, just because our farm is very pretty picturesque. So as that grew, I said, man, there's got to be a solution for this. Stumbled upon LandTrust.com, which it is not the Land Trust Conservation Agency that a lot of times pops in people's minds. Our goal is actually to make farmers and ranchers so profitable with this revenue stream they would never dream of giving up easement rights on their land. So LandTrust.com, it's a company, it's very similar to Airbnb or Uber. It is a marketplace to connect farmers, ranchers, and landowners to people that would like to experience something on your land. And that's what it is. It's a facilitation tool. Anyway, I was kind of skeptic. I vetted the system. I called the company a couple of times and talked to the community service guys. I was like, well, this seems easy enough. Let me try it. We brought it on at our farm. We've had no problems. And then I had some extra time and I had some business skills. And me and Nick, the CEO, connected. He's like, man, I would love to have a farmer or rancher on our staff. Why don't you do a little work for us? So that's what it started as. And now I'm the landowner marketing and partnerships manager, which is a fancy way to say I try to connect farmers, ranchers, landowners to back to LandTrust. So, I work on trying to get on podcasts, showing up at conventions when we feel like we need to go, writing blogs, and just being the support for anybody that needs help.
Awesome. So there are some people out there, which I'm sure there's a couple of them listening that have no idea what Airbnb is.
Okay.
And they don't know what Uber is.
Okay.
So it is really it's super cool because it's really just a platform that says, here's a list, or you can search where you want to hunt or where you want to fish. Because just go over a list of like, what are the things that I can go on there if I am somebody that does not own land, but I want to experience fishing, hunting, agriculture. What are some of the things that I can look for to do to connect myself with somebody in the ag industry?
Absolutely. So, yes, fishing and hunting, we have a lot of that, but we also have some really neat experiences that people offer. We have plenty of hiking. We have
Hmm.
some archaeological stuff out in Wyoming. We have all types of farm and ranch tours on different types of operations. There's some places out west that you can attend to branding. There's places you can go to take like a regenerative farm tour. We have gator hunts. Man, we have some cool ones because that's the thing is, as a landowner, you can offer whatever type of experience is interesting that you think people might want to buy. I am waiting for the first farmer to rent a buddy seat ride in his combine. And if you think I'm kidding, you're crazy because if you look at YouTube and you look at big ag on YouTube and everybody has their favorite big ag farmer on YouTube and how many views they get and what the demographic is, it's a lot of kids. There is a lot of moms that little boys or little girls would kill to ride in a combine for 2 hours as a birthday present. I know it. We hear about it. Kids love ag. There's a very safe way to bring youth out, get them involved in ag, show it to them, make money for yourself, be covered in liability. But yeah, sorry, I got off track. But
No,
anything
no,
you can
that's okay
imagine,
because that's where my brain was going.
sure.
Right? Is okay, you want me because I'm going to think like a farmer. You know that.
Yep.
You want me to bring, you want your snot nosed kid in my tractor, and then they're going to complain, and then they're going to have allergies. And then the mom is going to be over the top, and she's going to want this, and she's going to want that. And like the farmer's brains automatically go to the most negative possible things you could ever go to. And so, that's the piece of all the interviews that I've listened to with Nick and the research I've done on LandTrust is that's not what's happening.
No,
The encounters between the farmer and the city folk is they're becoming friends. They're knowing each other. They're starting to understand agriculture and we're developing relationships.
yeah, which I think personally is extremely important. I don't love the fact that you have to be front facing nowadays and almost have a social media presence to defend yourself because I want to farm. I don't want to have to put everything on Instagram. But if you don't tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you. They might be Netflix, they might be Amazon. So you might as well make yourself some money. We're talking real money too. We partner with production agriculture farms. There's nothing wrong with pumpkin patches and corn mazes, but that's not what we do. We are a very viable revenue stream that you can add to your farm that's not tied to politics, commodities, markets, and BS. We have people I'm allowed to share all these statistics of every year our top earners and what our average booking values
Oh,
are on a
that's
lot of
good
these
because
things.
that's one of the questions I had. I have not heard I've not heard him in any interview talk about the income that people are making. So let's just go there since you brought it up.
Sure.
Oh, and while you're looking for that, Taylor, I'm just going to say, like, when we're talking about hunting, we're not talking about just deer. We're
No,
talking about coyotes and anything that can be hunted. And I think we forget about that as landowners, myself as a landowner. I forget about, people do want to shoot coyotes and it's not just deer.
Yeah, we have a lot of our summer bookings this year, it really exploded. We have so many sportsmen that in the summer are looking for something to continue hunting. So in the southeast or in the south, they're a nuisance and people will pay to come shoot them. Out west, we were calling ranches that we have a bunch of listings for and asking if they had prairie dogs because we had people calling in looking for prairie dog properties and willing to pay good money. And they're like, yeah, we've got whole colonies. Why? And we're like, we got people who want to pay you to come shoot them. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
Coyotes are a big one. Turkeys are a huge one. It is way more than just deer, and it's way more than just hunting. It's really we call it farm and ranch experiences now in the summer because we have people just searching for space to get outside with their families and experience this stuff. And yes, there is the Dude Ranch model, and yes, there is Disneyland, but there's more people than you think that are really conscious about where their money goes, and they would rather go learn. They'd rather drive an hour with their kids and go to let me use myself as an example, go to a beef cattle farm, take a walk in nature with their kids, see the cows, see the calves, listen for an hour. Like, this is what happens when we do a ranch tour. We make it to my creek, and the kids have their shoes and socks tore off, and they're playing in the creek. And I get to talk to the parents for an hour about where the beef comes from. And more times
Mhm.
than once, I've had one of the parents say, "This is so much better than I thought it was." Meaning they have this picture in their mind that's, you know, whether it's politics or the news or Netflix or the media in general of what they think animal production agriculture is. And by getting out there and me spending an hour, getting paid to spend an hour with them, I've now changed their mind. Now they're calling us, asking where they can get beef. It's a great thing. I don't have a bad thing to say about it. And that's not just because I work for the company.
But that is not, you don't have to spend an hour with them. This is
No.
the piece of the model that I like, and we'll get back to the income piece, but this is the piece of the model that I like is that you they make they go I being, let's pretend I'm the city person. I go online, I see your ranch is allowing me to hunt deer. I request to book it. And then if you don't like me, you can deny it. If you don't want me, you can deny it.
Yep. Yeah, let's talk about that. There's some really important pieces that we should hit right from the beginning. Number one, it's a two-way marketplace, which means, and it passes through landtrust.com. That means as a landowner, you'll be personally onboarded by one of our team members. We do all the work for you. We build out your listing on our website. We do all the work. The only thing you got to do is look at that listing. We know that it's your land. You've poured your heart and sweat, and we want you to be proud of it. You say, yep, that listing looks good. We might ask you for some pictures or find a way to get good pictures. And we go through it all with you. And you say, yep, that's good. And past that, all you have to do is accept bookings or deny bookings. You have to have some type of cell phone device or somebody does. So when you get a request, you can say, yes, I'll accept the booking or no. You have the ability, you maintain all control the whole time. You have the ability to block out days. If it's a holiday, weekend, you don't want any hunting. If you're not there, if it's fall shipping, if it's harvest, you have full control. But being it's a two-way marketplace, the people that want to book stuff have to basically make a profile with us as well. And when they make that profile, we have to ID verify them through a third party source. So we have their license on file. We hold their credit card on file. So, and we've done a background check. So we kick people off of our platform. If they've ever misbehaved, they're off. We're a private company. It's not a right to use our platform. It's an honor, right? So that's how we control good experiences both sides. When an experience is done, we ask both parties to review each other. So you get a rating. If you went to a property and you misbehaved or you didn't follow a rule, we hope the landowner gives you a poor review so we can work it out. And we work those things out ourselves. We call up landowners, we call up sportsmen. And if something seems to not be the right fit, we just don't allow the relationship to go on. But yeah, it's not that people just come to your land without you knowing. You have to personally accept every booking. And let's role play for a second, Mary Jo. You make a request to me and I'm on the fence. I can send you a personal message through our platform and speak to you first. Have you ever, let's say I'm a cattle farmer and you're going to come hunt. I want to know if you've ever hunted in the same fields as where there's cows standing. And you're like, yeah, I grew up on a ranch myself. in Nebraska. I want to come hunt your ranch in Montana. I'm very familiar. And that makes me feel better. I'm like, oh, yeah, come on. If
Mhm.
your response is, no, I don't know what a cow is, I might be like, yeah, this isn't the ranch for you. No hard feelings. So we give the landowners 100% complete control. It's their land. We're just a partnership that builds all the tools to help you earn more value off that land.
And so then when I show up to hunt, do I have to check in?
Nope. So the same way when we onboard the landowner, so we're gonna make a listing for your land. And you could have multiple listings if you had multiple pieces of land as well. If you had different big pastures across town, they doesn't all have to be lumped in one. And then within that listing, we're gonna make packages. So for instance, let's say there's a deer hunting package, a coyote hunting package, and a hiking package. Within those packages, when we make those packages, we spend some time with you and we ask for what type of arrival instructions you would like sent to the
Mm.
sportsman. So let's say you only want coyote hunting in the back section. We locate that gate on GPS. We write instructions that says park at this gate. Please do not drive through the gate. Please shut the gate when you go through. So when the sportsman books that and you accept the booking, they're given a full packet of arrival instructions for whatever those specific instructions are. They get the GPS pin. We give them every bit of information you want to give them. If you would like to personally check everybody in, we have no problem with that either. It might be, please come to the barn and check in with me and I will put you out on the land where I want you. It is whatever kind of experience you would like to offer as a landowner.
Because so we don't have to, landowners don't have to be entertainers.
Absolutely
I
not.
think, my parents had a pheasant hunting lodge for years and it was nice, but it was a lot of work. You have to get them on pheasants, you have to clean them, you have to make sure the dogs aren't idiots and they say that the dog is not an idiot and all the things. And so it's, to me, it would be nice to say, hey, okay, you check in, at least I know who you are, I see your face, I know what you're driving, these are
Sure.
where you go, and have a good hunt and come back and let us know when you're done
Absolutely.
you know
So where our demographic really falls for sportsmen and people that recreate in the outdoors, we're the in between a guided, outfitted hunt, such as maybe your parents' pheasant lodge, and going to public land and just doing it yourself. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but when people book, they're booking exclusive rights to your property for that time period for them and their party. That could be them and their friends, them and their family, whatever, for their hunting party. So it's like they're going on an outfit and not they'll be the only one. But much like myself, maybe they enjoy doing it themselves. Like that's part of the fun of the hunt, which would be the experience you'd get if you went and bummed around on public land. But then you have to deal with a bunch of other people. So most of our sportsmen and recreators prefer the hands off. They don't want a guided hunt. If they did, they'd go pay for a guided hunt. They just want access to do things safely, to spread out, to not have other hunters on top of them, and they're willing to pay for it.
How is that charged? Is it, if I'm coming for a pheasant hunt or something like grouse or something where it's a group of people, is it per person? Do I get to decide that?
You
What does
decide
that
all
look
that.
like?
You decide
Okay.
that. Yep. So you even decide your own pricing. We can advise you on that, but we tell everybody we like free markets. So let's say that you would be like really happy with just four big bookings a year. You want to see four groups of pheasant hunters. That's it. You can set that to be like, hey, $1,000 a guy for a 3-day hunt, and I want a 4-man minimum. And I'm only going to allow 4 hunts a year, and that's going to be, I should have done easier math in my head, but whatever that is, a sizable little chunk, right? That's much different than saying I want one guy every single day for all of pheasant season at $100. You know,
Mhm.
now, what we say is if you're not getting as many bookings as you would like, maybe let's lower the price. If you're getting too many bookings, let's up the price. Same thing, the
Mhm.
people that have really taken the model and run, they really use the pricing model to also fluctuate how much pressure they want on their wildlife. Because when people start making money with this, it becomes real feasible money. We see the snowball effect of how can I make it better? How can I make it better? How can I make it better? The mechanics of the financial transaction is that, again, let's role play. Mary Jo, when you send me a request and I accept that booking, at that time, the money is taken from your credit card into an escrow account. I, as the landowner, can see that on December 12th, when you're coming, I'm going to be credited $2,000 for your hunt. it's in an escrow account in case something comes up and we have to refund you. They don't have to chase the money back from my accounts. But the morning
Mhm.
of December 12th comes, you step foot on my property, all that money drops from the escrow account into my landowner's account. We do all the work at the end of the year to send out all the tax information. We keep track of it all for you. You have a whole landowner dashboard on the backside of the website where you can look at your earnings. That's where you do all the communication with the guests. And then the last question that everyone's going to ask, so I'm just going to hit it on the head, is we're a revenue sharing service. So we don't make a dime until you make money. And at that point, it's an 80-20 split, 80% to the landowner, 20% to us. You're compensating us for the time we have invested in building your listings, for all of the insurance we carry for you and your party, which we haven't got into, for all the marketing we do. You're essentially joining a team of 20 to 30 people who are really good at websites, marketing, advertising, and all that stuff. I'm not one of those people. I'm just the guy who knows ranching, but that's what you're buying into. You're buying into a company of professionals who's good at getting people to your property so you can make money.
20% is minor. I'm just going to say this. Y'all should be paying more than that, but take advantage of it while you can. Because I don't know how you run a business on 20%, but kudos to Nick. I am.
Well, I mean,
And he has a, it's evident of his purpose. And so I know he's not here visiting with us today, but you guys can listen. If you're listening to this podcast, he's been on a bunch of podcasts, search it. But he really, really is out to help the landowner and make sure that farmers are profitable and it stays in the farm or it stays in the family and that we keep agriculture. And that is evident if he's only taking 20%, because I would take more than that if
so
was
hold on.
my company.
We only take 20% from the landowner. There is a sportsman booking fee as well. So
Oh, okay, good.
in the full transaction. But as far as the landowner, yes,
Okay.
it's your land. You pay the taxes. You keep it nice. We want the
Okay.
relationship to remain attractive. We make money on the sportsman side too. That it costs
Yeah.
that we take a percentage there. But no, you hit the
Okay. Oh,
nail
good.
on the head, and that was one of the things that impressed me about Nick is that while he didn't start out, I can definitely tell that he cares so much now about the farmers, the ranchers, and the landowners. And like almost that the mission has changed. Like that is the goal, is to we want people to be more profitable and be able to compete with the housing markets and to have another revenue source that doesn't interrupt the production ag at all. I don't want you to have to take cornfields. I'm going to say something halfway controversial. I don't care. I don't want you to take production ag ground out of production and put solar panels on it. No, I want you to allow people to hunt the edges with pheasants and the ditches that you're going to bush hog otherwise and make your money. And it's to the point now where people are making enough money that they're bringing kids home from college on that salary. We've seen daughter-in-laws run the whole agritourism side of the ranch business, or a son-in-law, or whoever it may be. We've got a really cool old rancher in Montana who him and his daughter-in-law's favorite new thing is dragging cabin shacks out of the hills and making them into lodges for these hunts. We've seen it do some really special things succession-wise, which is really, really important to me. I know once you subdivide this land, it doesn't go back together. And once they build housing tracts, there's not many people going to run a bulldozer back through them and put them back into production ag. So that's my passion. And that's those stories that I get to interview a lot of these people for. I mean, that's where it's cool and it's worth it. And I don't even know if we mentioned that yet. But so along with all this, you can offer lodging, right? So you can it can just be camping. It could be an RV hookup. If you have grain bins and you have a 30 amp outlet, put an RV hookup in. Let somebody drag their RV so they can hunt for more days. If you have an Airbnb or you have some type of rental cabin, people love to stay for a couple days. They get to pheasant hunt and then have a campfire with their buddies and then do it over again tomorrow. You're going to make twice the money. Plus, you can charge for the lodging. So, yeah, it's a big, cool product.
It is. And I'm just going to reverse a little bit to the comment of him really having the passion mission of it changed. That is evident when you take a city kid, because he was a city kid. So you take a city kid and you show them farming and ranching and and they start to understand the passion we have for it and why we do it. The problem we have with hunting, and I'll just use us as an example. Obviously, I grew up on a farm and and in North Dakota, you have to post your land. So you can hunt it if it's not posted.
Yeah, we're the
Well, when I
same
first
way here.
we never hunted. Like, growing up, my brothers hunted a little bit, but I never saw my dad shoot anything except coyote, so it wouldn't get the cattle, you know? But it was who no, we don't have time to hunt. So then I meet my husband, he's a big hunter, but he's going and door knocking and getting yelled at. Well, that happened once or twice, and he's like, "I'm done. I'm just gonna fish because I don't wanna get yelled at anymore." And so we would always have this disagreement of what should be posted and what shouldn't be posted. And I'm like, that's my land. I shouldn't have to post it. I bought it. I pay taxes on it. I take care of it. We should not have it. It's posted. Like it should automatically be posted. We shouldn't have to do that. Well, now that we own land, the first thing he did, we didn't even sign on the dotted line and he had that line, he had the land posted. And so my dad makes fun of him because he's like, "Oh, now you post it, you know?" But
Yep.
it's a much different now you go, "Oh, okay, so we've got all of this land and we don't want people trespassing and we have the liability of it and we have all these other things. We don't just want people on there." And then people don't understand, like they want to hunt for free. I was just talking to my brother about this. The amount of shells they find on their posted land is insane. And
Yeah.
my dad doesn't let anybody hunt anymore because at Thanksgiving we hunt and then people can hunt, but they're just shooting, they're just driving in their driveway. My brother has a sort of a little abandoned farm. They caught somebody driving down the driveway of it. It is not a section line. You don't mistake it for a section line. And he's like, "We're finding shells all the time." And I'm like, here's the thing. A, it's posted, but B, you have to understand when my dad started his pheasant hunt, thousands of trees got planted, thousands and thousands of trees. And then he made water. He invented these water systems so that the pheasants had some water so they wouldn't die over the winter. And then he bought pheasants because there were years that pheasants were, scarce and he had to bring pheasants in because he had hunters coming in. It's like non landowners don't understand that. And
Yeah.
so once you get the connection with the landowner, you start to see, just like you were talking about with your people, you start to understand the mentality, the lifestyle, what all goes into it. And it's not what you're seeing on Netflix.
Well, look, the person that snuck down your brother's driveway and shot something out his window is probably not going to give us his credit card and license to verify him. So those probably are not the guests you're going to get. The guests we get are like, let's just say this, for instance, you own an Airbnb, correct? I'm
Mhm.
guessing your audience knows that. Okay, so imagine your Airbnb is a little rural. If you had to choose
It
between,
actually is. It's on 40
okay,
acres.
if you had to choose between all of Airbnb guests or guests that were run through the LandTrust platform, knowing that their interests were probably outdoor recreation, farming, and ranching, I'm guessing you're going to choose those people. We have a little bit, our interest, our guest interests are much more aligned with you. I did want to mention one of the reasons you can't just let people traipse around on your property anymore is because you can't afford the liability of it. Nick likes to say, and I agree with it, if you've let anybody on your land that doesn't carry the same last name as you, you're more exposed to liability than you are if you listed through us.
Mhm.
So I interview a lot of our landowners. The number one thing I actually get asked about is not money, it's liability. So every sportsman or recreator that signs up through our platform, when they're signing up, they're signing our terms of service, which is they indemnify landowners 100% non liable. That's layer number one. So they're saying, I will not hold any landowners liable for anything that happens to me. Layer number one. Then we carry a liability policy for all those landowners that have land within the Land Trust platform. Then we carry property damage policy. On that one, if they back into your gate, we're going to call them. We're going to sort it out. If they don't want to pay for your gate, we're probably going to kick them off. We're probably not going to make a claim for a $100 gate. We're probably just going to send you the money, send you the gate. Maybe one of us will come out there. I'm just kidding. We're not going to drive all the way to North Dakota to hang the gate. I would love to, but if we have that policy for bigger things, because we always get that. What happens if somebody shoots a cow by accident? Cows are worth a lot of money. We know that. We're going to make it right. We carry the insurance to do it. As well as every state has different within the state constitution or state bylaws, most states have some type of wording around agritourism, which I know agritourism can seem a little hokey, but that's just the legal term that all of our activities fall under. So we also help all the landowners get the proper signage. We will send them to you for free that has their
Mm,
state wording that wherever the entry point is, you stick that sign, and by that sign being there, those that's the fourth layer of protection you can have. The fifth layer would be I have all these layers. The fifth layer would be you can call your local insurance agent. And for me, I think it was a $269 rider on top of my liability policy, my personal or my farm liability policy. It was a $269 agritourism rider. It's in the North Carolina state bylaws. So I feel like I am as protected as I can get. And all that
mhm.
stuff goes, I mean, I'm way more protected than before. So I feel better actually having LandTrust. And that's a big part of,
That sounds like there's more protection than my Airbnb
I don't
has
have an
through
Airbnb, but
Airbnb.
I could imagine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Have you guys had claims or issues at all?
We've had, I mean, nothing major. The biggest claim we've ever had is somebody missed a turkey and hit a fencing charger on a post. Small things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest like property damage claim. We've had some, of course, we've had the people that have come out and they thought it was one, they thought there wasn't the elk they expected there. Or we've had some stuff where the pictures might have been, the pictures were nice and green. And then hunting season gets here and they get out there and the farm's black because they just got done fall tillage. And they're like, well, what's going to be out here? We've had some stuff like that. We work it out. We're all human.
Mhm.
We're a team of real people. We have a customer service line and a chat that a bunch of us answer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we personally work all this stuff out. But
Mhm.
we've never had any large issues by any means. We've had nothing we haven't worked out like adults.
And here's my other question on the rating since we're talking about people.
Sure.
So you don't have an Airbnb, so I'll let you all in on a little secret about
I'm a I'm a
Airbnb.
I'm a very experienced Airbnb user though, so
Yeah, so I was sharing this with somebody else the other day, and so on Airbnb and VRBO, when you stay, so if you stay at my Airbnb, I rate you and then you rate me. But that rating does not get shared if we both don't rate each other. Okay.
really.
Yeah. So this is a huge manipulation tactic. So if you complained about my Airbnb while you were there, and I think, oh, Taylor's going to go on and give me like a 3-star review. So I'm not going to rate him. So he then can't rate me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we don't have that though. You can
Okay.
rate or you don't
So
rate, and it's just one
everybody's
person.
rating is shown. And is it shown? So on Airbnb, the other thing is I can't see yours and you can't see mine until we both rate one another.
No,
So if
it's
you
all
give me
full.
a bad rating, I can't give you a bad rating because you were sort of a sucky guest, but I was going to be nice.
No, you can go, so if you're a sportsman and you're looking at the property, you can go see all the ratings that are left. You'll see all the ratings
Okay.
with pictures. Now, obviously, if I'm a landowner, I don't know who's looking. I can't see your rating till you make a request. I don't know who's just looking at my property.
Yeah.
What is interesting though is the way our website works. People can like follow your property now, just like you're on social media. You can like stuff, follow it, and we have this thing called field notes where it is picking up steam fast. As a landowner, in fact, I'm going to use North Dakota as an example. I actually have the ranch right here because we have 100. I just looked. We have 185 different listings in North Dakota right now.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we have one of our places that's almost Canada. And he literally snapped a picture of snow geese showing up the other day out of the tractor. It was a John Deere tractor. I could see that. Snapped it, put it on field notes. The next day, somebody, I'm assuming a waterfowl hunter, saw that, was like, yep, booked it. A week later, we've got in the ratings when they rated each other, the sportsman standing there with tailgates full of snow geese. That's how it's
Yeah.
supposed to work, which is cool. Those
Yeah.
updates, we're not asking you to go take professional photos, just if you offer waterfowl, hey, the ducks are here. If you offer whitetail, hey, the rut's starting to go on. People love that. And what happens is people really start to, if they've hunted your property once and they like it, they really start to pay attention. and they don't have to bother you texting you every day. They just keep up with the field note updates and book away. And
Yeah,
we've seen tremendous growth with field notes this year. It's a newer product we just launched, but people love it.
that's cool. If I were a landowner that was gonna do this or that had a lot of wildlife, I don't have a lot of wildlife on my land. But if I had people that wanted to hunt, and just hunting is kind of where my brain goes at the moment. And if I think of my parents, you've got lots of land and they're coming by and they're stopping. Oh, can I hunt? Can I hunt? It's not posted, whatever. Or it's posted and so they can't hunt it. I would make signs and put them in the dang ditch and be like, if you want to hunt, go to landtrust.com and book your hunt so that you can be hunting because they could probably hunt in 5 minutes,
So we
right?
haven't we
But
haven't even
you don't
we,
have to knock on the door. You can just see if it's available. Go to LandTrust, let them take care of it all and hunt.
we have it even better. We do that, and our signs have QR codes. So they walk up with their camera and they hold it and they click the link.
You guys are so good at marketing. I love it.
I mean,
Yeah, because then it's that land. I didn't even think of a QR code. Then it's that particular piece of ground that I can hunt. And you could put signs all around. This is Land Trust, and this is my name, and this is the land you can hunt, right? Make it very easy. So,
yeah,
and very hands off. So that
exactly.
I'm in the field, I'm harvesting. I don't have time to be showing you where to hunt.
That's why we love it when the landowners will just. I know it's hard to find an hour, but they'll call Colin or they'll call Josh who build the listings, and we'll sit down and we go through a whole onboarding form, which seems like it's long and arduous, but we want to spend that time in the winter when you have it so that when you're during harvest, we take all the burden of the work. We want the arrival instructions to be as thorough as possible. We want to make sure if let's say you got a hunting cabin, we've thoroughly described it. So if they show up, if it says there's 4 beds to sleep in, there's 4 beds to sleep in, not 2 beds in a hammock, right? We cross our T's, we dot our I's, we work really hard for you, and we actively keep working with you. A lot of these listings are very dynamic in that somebody wants to test the waters with just something. 40 acres, 40 acres, an Airbnb rental house, and you're going to allow pheasant hunting. You're just going to try it. It's free. You might as well try it. Hey, you do 10 grand the first year. You're like, hey, this isn't bad. Let's talk to these guys. You call us. We think, hey, if you have pheasants, you might have a coyote or two. Would you want to list that in the summer? Oh, that pond that's on the corner. Do you mind if some people fish in it? You can get $50 a rod all day. And next year you're doing 20. And that's without any extra work for you. But we have had people that have added some overheads. Maybe they've added some lodging or, added a plug for an RV and have really taken it through the roof.
Mhm. So let's go back to how much people are making.
Yeah, sure.
So share some of those stories.
Let's see. 2023, our top earner made 73 grand.
And
And
do you know what they were doing and where they were
um,
at?
I know
What
I do
state?
know they were in Montana and they had elk.
Okay.
So the other thing I want,
And this isn't guided. This
no,
isn't guided. We're not like fenced in elk that we're paying to shoot something in a corral.
no, this is not. This is
Okay.
purely access to the wildlife that's on their land. You know what?
Yeah.
Some of our more successful people might not have a huge acreage either. If you're out west, they might have a private land acreage that's next to public access to public land. So by people
Mm.
booking their private land, they've given themselves a bunch more access. We've seen that be
Oh,
wildly
sure.
successful. Some of the average, I'm going to talk about average booking values. So the average
Okay.
value in 2024 that if you get, let's say you have a waterfowl booking, the average booking value this year so far has been $2,400 for that waterfowl booking for one booking. So
Oh, wow.
if you're in North Dakota, that's probably around a 3-day booking for a couple of guys, $2,400. Antelope, 900. Farm and ranch activity is a big catch-all for hiking, bird watching, ranch tours, brandings, whatever that's not hunting and fishing. Still, average booking value of that is $375. Average fishing booking, which,
Branding tours?
oh yeah, we have a ranch out west that allows people to pay, come watch their brandings, not participate. Everybody, everybody's seen
Do they
Yellowstone.
set up
You want to go?
bleachers? I'm teasing.
No, Side Hill.
That's actually crazy that people like we don't even know what people would want to see because it is our everyday life, right? And
That's
so
what
it's so awesome that they even thought to do that.
well, that's what I tell people. Like, if we're in ag, we're less than 2% of the nation now, right? So 98% don't have a clue, and they will pay. It's not a circus. I promise they're not making fun. I mean, somebody probably is, but 99% of the people I meet are genuinely interested in what I do on my farm. Like,
Mhm.
what this is a personal story. When I retired from NASCAR, not one person within the sport was like, "I can't believe you retired." Everybody said, "Congratulations. I think that you're going to farm and ranch is the coolest thing." Everybody wanted to tell me how their great grandpa used to farm or their grandpa farmed. It's within all of us.
Mhm.
Everybody eats a couple times a week, at least once a day, 3 times a day, whatever. It is inherently within people, and take politics out of it, but it's becoming to the forefront even more. It's going to pick up more traction, is my belief. So if you feel the need or the want to give access, just use us as the tool. Let us do the work for you. Don't
Mhm.
You're already busy enough. I know how many hats people in production ag juggle. Like, here's another personal story. I was a crew chief by 30 years old, and the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is try to go out on my own farming and ranching. That's how many hats it takes to juggle. I don't take that lightly. I know what people that are wildly successful go through. They're economists, they're weathermen, they're agronomists, they run businesses. It is so many hats to wear. Don't feel like you need to carry the burden on yourself. The difference between us and your seed and chem salesman is we don't take any money out of your pocket. It's free. All of it's free to you until we have to share some revenue when you start making it, which I think is really neat. We're not an extractive
Well, and it was
service.
revenue you didn't have, so you can have something or nothing, or you can have nothing of nothing or something something of something. Like it's
Yeah.
a and 80% is awesome. So
Yeah.
we got sidetracked on your numbers
I know,
again.
I know. Sorry. Whitetail, the average booking's $1,500. Mule deer, $2,600. Varmint, which I think we put coyote there. Prairie dog, hog, $375 for a nuisance animal. Elk.
Skunks? Like, do people hunt skunks and those
I,
sort of things?
I've never heard of somebody hunting a skunk.
I got some of those I need.
Elk is $1,300. And the funny part about that is I think it would be way higher. But one of our top elk bookings in Nebraska, you can go shoot cow elk for $25 because they just want the elk off of their pivots. So they really lower their price and they say, "Come one, come all. We want everybody. Like, we want to make enough pressure to keep the elk pushed off our pivots." So in that case,
Mhm.
it really draws our elk average down. But we're happy that our customer's happy, right?
Yeah.
25 bucks, they're turning a problem into a solution. They're using hunters to keep the elk pushed off all their crop pivots, which is great.
And that's $25 a gun, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like, I mean, if you got 5 people out there, that's not 25 bucks for the group. It's 25 bucks a gun.
Yeah, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure their bull elk fee is only like 450, and somebody shot a monster out there this year.
Wow.
We're not a trophy hunting service. Like, we can't guarantee anything. We're an
Right.
experience service, but it's awesome when somebody uses our platform to shoot a all the boys in the Montana office, that's where we're out of, is Montana. They were sure jealous of the Nebraska elk that was shot at JP Delansky's farm this year. So, and then the last two I have are upland birds, which we throw pheasant, chucker, quail, all that together. Average booking $700, and same with turkey. Average booking is $700. And turkey is huge. We have so many people, they dip their toe in the water with turkey because it's a springtime event. It's usually planting season, or if you're ranching, you might be kicking cows up to grass. It's just not. We have some landowners that hunt themselves, and they usually like the fall activities after harvest. But turkey is one that's very much, people can't believe that people will pay that much to come hunt turkeys. And we see people make real sums of money with turkey hunts.
The whole fact that it's just so hands off. Like, here it is. You guys have vetted them. We don't have to vet them. You have all their stuff. We can see if we're going to like them or not. We can decline them if we want. We have reviews. And then we can still make a little bit of money,
Yeah.
and we don't have to guarantee anything. Like, when my folks were doing their hunting lodge, like, you didn't have to guarantee they're going to limit out every day, but you were hoping they were going to limit out every day because they're not going to come back if they don't, And sometimes, yeah, the pheasants were there, but you just bad shot. So then you're not going to feel so bad. But when those pheasants are just running and running and running, and you got to try to figure out how to get them their limit, that's the part that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I
Um,
think if a landowner was on the fence, if they just went to the website and read the reviews from the sportsman, you'll see how many people write reviews that are like, had a great time, was there for 3 days. We hunted hard. We saw some stuff. We weren't successful, but man, it was awesome to have just the space to walk around with my son on this ranch or just, to share the campfire with my daughter. It's very much about experiences.
for me, it's the privacy. Like, I don't prefer that my husband go onto public land because he's gotten almost shot at,
Okay.
and people are dumb. And so it's nice to have it all to yourself. We have a group of guys that come up from North Carolina and they stay at our Airbnb and then they go hunt geese. They just left a couple weeks ago and they leave at like 4 a.m., to go get their spot. But they ended up here by pure accident. And so then they come up, they scout, they don't have a place to go. But I'm just like, why are you like, God, you got to get up at 4? It doesn't get light till 7:30, but they got to get their spot and it's an hour away. And it's just like, it would just be easier if they just had a spot. I mean, I don't want to lose them as Airbnb guests because we love them, but it would just be easier if they didn't have to get up at 4 a.m. If they could get up at 5, go get their geese and their decoys and all their stuff set up, and they could save 2 hours, because they
Yeah.
already paid for that piece of it. I mean, I'm sure these are young guys and they're on a budget and they probably they don't they probably don't have all the extra money to pay for it, but sometimes the extra money to be able to sleep in and not have to manage and be the first guy out there at the crack of stupid is extremely nice.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at our prices, those are our average booking prices. We have a lot of really affordable hunts. Especially, we don't do anything like by the per acre basis. We let landowners set their prices, but I know that we have a waterfowl property in Nebraska that's 20,000 acres. We have another one that's 46,000 acres, and it's not very expensive to have access to all of that land. So
Wow.
if you're a group of buddies and you're just looking for a big chunk of land to stomp around on, and like you just said, know where you're going to rest your head every night and sleep in, there's your ticket.
Mhm. Yeah. That's I looked at it, I listened to his stuff. I just think it's a super cool concept and it's a really good way. Like, we've gotten to meet people. My husband is not a people person. He is very quiet. I just want to be left alone when I'm not at work. And so I thought, well, this Airbnb, I don't even want anybody to know I own it. Right? I don't want anybody to know that that is us that owns that. And every time we go, we got to fix something, somebody locked themselves out of a bedroom or a dishwasher didn't work or something what happened. We have to go over. And then we're to the point where we're like, geez, I wonder what they're like. I'm sure they're really nice people and we would love to meet them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's really nice to be able to develop those relationships. And I think you're going to do the same thing on the hunting side without the pressure of having to entertain and
Yep.
provide a place and cook and clean and do all the stuff.
Yeah. Nobody expects that. Your story is not unique. Some of my favorite ranchers, it's always the Yosemite Sam grandpa rancher that hates people. That's why he ranches. And every time the feedback we get is he would not leave the guests alone. They were his best buddies the whole time. He talked to them the whole time. And then that makes the whole experience for the guests. They're like, we didn't expect that, but oh my goodness, he was the nicest guy. Come over to the lodge at night, tell us all the stories about 80 years ago when he duck hunted the same hole. And I've got to interview some of those guys, and you can get them to break down. And they're like, I just love the fact that somebody appreciates what I do. And
Yeah.
it,
And
you know,
there's this conception of the door knocker though. That guy just wanted to that person just wanted to hunt and then they lied and didn't tell us how many guys were along. Or I have clients that they have amazing land for waterfowl. And we were just he always used to be like, just come and hunt, doesn't matter. We don't post it. We just want people to be able to hunt. Yeah, until their gates got left open, someone, took a dump in their tractor. Like, it was just like the most awful things. And they don't pick up their shells. Like, when we hunt, my husband's very adamant for waterfowl hunting, you're picking up your shells. Like, you don't
Yeah.
leave your shells. And so you have one or two bad people, and all of a sudden we don't like people and we don't want to talk to them and we don't want them here.
Yep. No, I get it completely. I mean, I'm a landowner myself, and I actually wish I was given some of this the other day. Like, when I grew up, we had a pretty sizable place up in Vermont, and my dad was pretty cool about there's, I think, similar laws. You had to post it or people could walk on, and we had cows everywhere. Just couldn't afford the liability. But if anybody came and door knocked, he would usually just swap them some labor in the summer for a deer stand. Like, hey, we'll let you hunt back there. Help us a couple days get some of these trees off fences, split some firewood. That was like the litmus test. If they'll help you a little bit, and it's worth it. And if they're not, you probably don't want them around. I wish so bad somebody would come offer to help me out for a spot. It's never happened. So I'm like, okay, well, I just listed on LandTrust. I don't offer hunting here. I hunt. But yeah, I've seen, whether we like it or not, we've seen the world go that way. So this is the solution for those people the good people that still want private land access.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think some of those people, like, I go back to my husband, he would be more than happy to help somebody, but he's not going to ask to hunt anymore because he doesn't want to get yelled at. He's like, you didn't post it, and I'm on there hunting because you didn't post it, and that's the law. And now you're mad at me because I'm hunting. Then post it. And then, being a farm kid, I was like, that's trespassing, man. You don't go on anybody's land, post it or not. Like, how come you city folk think you could do that, And so it's different. But some people are okay calling and asking. And here's the other thing. A lot of farmers, there's money to be made there, and that's fantastic. But, like, my parents are like, oh, so-and-so came and hunted. You know how many nice things they sent us? They sent us some jellies and jams from their state and some honey and this and that. And, oh, they're just happy as lark because they got, a $50 gift card to Applebee's or something. I mean, they don't want a lot. They just want to know, for the most part, you're good people.
Yep.
And so that's probably why the hunts are so cheap, is because they don't really care. They're not out there. That's not their main living.
True.
Fun. Okay, so where do they go? Where do they find more information? All that good stuff.
Go to LandTrust.com. That's the easiest place to find all this information. There's an interactive map you can search. If you just want to look at other listings similar to what you might be thinking about putting out, you can search for that. So, like, let's say in your case, waterfowl North Dakota, type that in. It'll show you the results. It's an interactive map. It shows you different ranches throughout the state. We're over 1.4 million acres now and 700 plus listings. So it's catching on. We're also on all the social media platforms, LandTrust_hunt on Instagram, or LandTrust_landowners, as well as LandTrust on Facebook. But I would advise anybody to just call our customer service team. You're going to talk to a real person. Start with that. Just ask them, bug them. Ask them any question you got. You're going to talk to Con, Josh, maybe myself, maybe Colton. There's a little widget on the website. You can even just type a message in there. If you don't want to make a phone call, you can text us. You're going to talk to real people, and we're going to take the time to answer any questions you have. But start at landtrust.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and reaching out to me and bugging me. I love
Absolutely.
it. Thanks, Taylor.
I know I am one of your audience. I am one of your clients. And I was like, this is something people need to know about. I've vetted it for 2 years now. I'll put my name behind it.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
All right, you guys, you know the routine. If you have comments, questions, concerns, maryjo@withoutbank.com. Otherwise, go get your book, schedule your appointment, I think, end of January. So if you want to get in before, schedule with John. You guys met him in a podcast a couple weeks ago. But you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.